everyone. I'm Rochelle Chernowski. This is Shell Point Today for Thursday, July 11th. On today's show, we find out how a simulator can help us better understand hearing loss. We'll also talk to Dr. Roger Herchak about his role on the hospice floor of the Larson Pavilion. But first, we want to remind you about the next big event in our summer concert series happening tonight. We'll enjoy a classical evening with a unique trio consisting of flute, viola, and harp. The Sunshine Trio are Scott O'Donnell playing the viola, Kay Kemper on the harp, and Beth Larson playing the flute. This special combination of instruments brings a new sound to traditional classical favorites as well as popular numbers from the American Songbook. All three are accomplished musicians and are featured performers with the Southwest Florida Symphony and the Palm Beach Symphony Orchestra. Come hear the Sunshine Trio tonight at 7:30 p.m. in the church auditorium. Tickets are just $15, so get yours today at either service desk. We also want to preview an event next week focused on LifeQuest. If you look at page 13 of your Shell Point Life magazine, you'll read about the story of Dot Beard, just one person who has taken to heart the message of LifeQuest and used it to bring change to her life. If you have a yellow LifeQuest t-shirt, then be sure to wear it to the special event on Monday at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room, where Dawn Boren and Mary Franklin will motivate you to make the most out of your LifeQuest goals. Once again, if you've got a yellow LifeQuest t-shirt, then wear it to the My Questers event happening Monday at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. Mary is here now to discuss another wellness initiative, the Health Connection. Next week's class is about hearing loss. And for those of us who don't have hearing loss, it can be tough to understand what life is like for those who do. How do you watch TV or talk on the telephone? There is a hearing loss simulator coming to Shell Point next Thursday, July 18th at 1 p.m. in the Woodlands Oak Room. Let's learn more.
I'm here today with Shelley Rogerson. She is an RN with a specialty in hearing loss, and she's partnered with Belltone Hearing. And she's going to give a presentation with the Health Connection called Effects of Hearing Loss with a Hearing Loss Simulator. It will take place in July on Thursday the 18th at 1 p.m. in the Oak Room. Thank you for being here today, Shelley.
Thanks for having me.
So it's going to be an interactive class this time, not passive, you giving the information. You've been here several times, but you're actually going to do a virtual talk on July 18th, correct?
Right, exactly. We'll talk a little bit about the effects of hearing loss, and then we'll go into talking about how people with hearing loss and why they might perceive conversations differently than someone with normal hearing. And then the people in the audience will get to hear simulation of how a normal hearing person hears a certain conversation in different listening situations, and then we'll play it again with somebody with mild hearing loss and what they hear versus someone with a moderate or more severe loss. So you can see the effects and how it progresses or is different for each different person.
So this conversation that you're going to be having with everyone's really good for that spouse or friend.
Exactly.
And that can be a little bit more understanding of what their loved one is going through.
Right. It'll give them another perspective of why they might be, hearing differently or not hearing what you've said, and give you a little bit of empathy of maybe what they've gone through with their hearing loss or what challenges they're facing.
Those that are dealing with some hearing loss, maybe just their understanding, I can tell it's happening, they can see, gosh, if I do nothing, this is what will progress to.
Right, exactly, where it will end up, because we usually never improve our hearing over time, so you can hopefully keep what you have or maybe see where it might go down the road if you continue without hearing aids, and get a better idea of how you would hear then if you did have hearing aids, and maybe give you a little bit of understanding of why you're hearing certain words differently than most people hear it.
Yes. Now you're no stranger to Shell Point. You come to the Arbor. You're one of our specialty options out there at the Arbor. Can you tell us a little bit about Belltone?
Well, Belltone is the oldest hearing aid company. It's been around almost 75 years now, and it's part of a nationwide network. So if you ever travel, a lot of people at Shell Point surprisingly still go out of state for the summer, so they can go to a Belltone anywhere wherever they might go in the summer and get care there at no charge at any Beltone. And even if you stay right here in Fort Myers and never relocate, there's a protection there because you always know there'll be a Beltone. Where if you go to an independent practitioner, they might come or go, and where there'll always be a Beltone.
Well, thank you for all you do. This will be a very interesting and virtual presentation in the Oak Room at 1 p.m. on Thursday, July 18th. If you would like to make it to this presentation, please call the service desk and sign up there. And for Shelley, I'm Mary Franklin. Have a happy and healthy day.
Today's show is all about health and wellness, so it may surprise you to find out our next segment is about hospice. Isn't that the floor where people spend their last days? Actually, hospice falls under the umbrella of palliative care, meaning care that is designed to primarily make people feel more comfortable. This actually has a much broader scope than people realize, and it's wise to know all the options offered by hospice right here at Shell Point. Dr. Roger Herchak will be one of several speakers at an Academy event happening tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. And take note of the new location. The hospice event will take place in the hospitality room of the Village Church. Terry Kolath found out more about hospice.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath, and I am here in our hospice GIP unit, the General Inpatient Unit, on the 4th floor of the Larson Pavilion, talking about an upcoming Academy program, and I am privileged to be talking with Dr. Roger Herchak. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Terry.
Now, Dr. Herchak, we try every single semester to share the good news of hospice with the residents of our community. And this semester, we're going to talk about the comfort of hospice care once again on Friday. And we're going to talk about dispelling the myths of hospice care. But I was hoping if I interviewed you today, we could say to people, hospice care extends beyond this unit on the 4th floor. And you may have a friend or a loved one who could benefit greatly from hospice care. So come and find out a little bit more about it.
Right. And I appreciate this, Terry, because there's so many myths in hospice that, for example, in this beautiful unit, this inpatient unit, that people come up here just for end-of-life care, period. And that when everyone else gives up on the patient or we have a terminal illness, they come up to hospice, they get hooked up to morphine, and that's all there is to it. But as you're alluding to, there's so much more to hospice. Hospice is a mission of love, and it does extend beyond this unit. We have, as you know, almost 100 of our residents here at Shell Point that are served by hospice. And they are not on this unit because they're not in need of this unit. So hospice is a program that we take to our loved ones, whether they qualify and are living in independent living, assisted living, in a skilled nursing facility, or in need of the hospice GIP unit. As you explained, the GIP unit is our general inpatient unit. I call it the ICU for Shell Point. In the hospital, we go to the ICU if you need a higher level of care. So if patients that are hospice served are in need of a higher level of care, for example, they're having pain that's not controlled as an outpatient, or symptoms of nausea or difficulty in breathing, whatever it is, rather than going to the hospital, they come up to the GIP unit where we have 9 private rooms over a pristine setting where there's calm and peace, and we take over that treatment and provide that intensive, loving care.
I love how you refer to it as a mission of love, because we have resident volunteers who live at Shell Point that participate and spend time with our residents who are receiving hospice care. And it is a mission of love when you can say to someone, with a hospice qualifying diagnosis, we are going to make the rest of your life as comfortable and pleasant as possible out of love.
Right.
What a gift.
Right.
What a gift.
And the greatest, you're right, Terry, the greatest gift we could give, and biblically the Lord teaches us this too, is the gift of love. We've set standards, for example, on this unit that within 12 hours, I want our staff to hear from the residents or the families that are up here being served I'm in the right place, or thank God I'm here, or I sense the presence of love and God here. If we hear that within 12 hours, I know we're meeting our mission of love. And the other thing that we like to let our residents know, because we do, as you know, not only take Shell Point residents, we take people from the outside community, and we are getting more and more popular throughout Lee County. And many people choose to come here for care. One of the first things I tell them, Terry, when they are admitted is your loved one becomes part of our family. We and I will take care of your loved ones like it's my spouse, my father, my brother, my sister, or whatever. And when we say that, we really mean it, and I really mean it. And I think that's one of the things that makes our hospice unit here at Shell Point really different. It's what I often say is a Christ-centered love that we try to exude for our residents that we care for up here. And Terry, by the way, it's not a one-way street up here. We receive admissions from the hospital all the time, whether it's from our Shell Point residents or outside residents. And the hospital specialists have given up because there's no cure. So they send the patients to us, for end-of-life care. Now, just because we receive them for end-of-life care doesn't mean to say we're going to accept that they're end-of-life. So we do everything we could to stabilize people, get them back to their baseline, and discharge them. And again, I think our ambassadors in the community are those patients and Shell Point residents that have been taken care of up here, or their loved ones have been taken care of up here. And then they could help us dispel that myth that hospice is all about dying. Hospice is about living with quality of life.
It is. And about 10 or 11 years ago, when we formed this wonderful partnership with Hope Hospice, now Hope Healthcare, to create Hope Hospice at Shell Point, we started training volunteers, and everyone now has a hospice story. Mine is that I found out about hospice and became a volunteer right before my father needed hospice. And what a gift to me that I was able to know about this program, convince my parents that they should find out right away about getting some hospice care. And that's what we hope to do with these presentations in the Academy. We hope to say to people, come now and find out about hospice. So someone you care about becomes qualified for the care, you can encourage them and help them.
And I agree with that, and I appreciate that so much, Terry, because there are a lot of people that really want to sign up for hospice but don't qualify.
That's right.
A physician has to do a qualifying statement that someone has a disease that within 6-month period of time, most likely they will die from that disease process. Now, that's not an exact science. We have some people that have been on hospice for years, but to still qualify. And what I always like to say is that you don't give up anything when you become a hospice patient. You don't get any less care. Your providers in the medical center still take care of you. It's just that you get additional care. Your DME is normally taken care of if you need a hospital bed at home. Your medications that are related to your hospice diagnosis are paid for. So you give nothing up, but just receive so much more loving care.
Now we're going to be hearing not only from you, our Vice President of Medical Services here at Shell Point, but also Sherry Brown, our Director of Long-Term Care will be there, and Debbie Gowing, the Care Manager of Hope Hospice. So with all three of you addressing the various aspects of hospice, our residents who come to this presentation will leave with good information.
They will. I think the team that will be presenting, Terry will talk about the unit, and Debbie Gowing will talk about hospice services in general and how you qualify. And of course, Sherry Brown is our administrator, is very much involved in our program, and she could speak to how that works at the skilled nursing facility. And because I live this every day as the medical director, I will certainly give my input from my aspect when people come into the GIP unit. Even though I really just take care of, not just, but I really take care of the people in the intensive care unit up here. I also am over the other patients who are hospice patients that live in other areas as the medical directors. So if the hospice nurses that are here have any questions, they always come to me. So I always have a finger on the pulse until people ultimately end up here for some type of treatment.
That's something else that I wonder about and I'm in awe of, is how you spend your days. You spend your days with people who are at end of life. How do you do that, day after day after day?
It's really not easy, and this is a part that I could tear up with. Because we've done this program for 10, going on 11 years now. And I always remember telling our president, Dr. Dice, that I'll start the program off, and you remember this, and I'm going to do this for a week, and just to get the feel of how things work, because my background was in family practice and emergency medicine, and just totally different from hospice. And after a week, I'll hand it off to one of the other docs, and I'll oversee the program. Well, 10 going on 11 years later, I start my day every day up here seeing patients, and I'm up here until the last patient is seen. Now, I still do a lot of other things, but this has become a major focus of mine. Not that I'm forced to, but again, it's a mission of love, and you are able to touch people's lives. And it's a journey, Terry, and you're able to help loved ones accept where their loved one is. You need to meet them where they are in their thought process, in their emotions, and then help them through this journey. And the journey could be a very positive thing where, we get your loved one feeling better, they just got extubated from the hospital, they came here for end of life. In 1 week, we're discharging them again. Those are very joyous times, for us. But we're able to help the family members, because 50% of our care, as you know, goes for the patient. The other 50% of the care goes for the family members who haven't experienced this before. No. How often do you lose your mother or your father or whatever? So you need to help them. And that is more of a challenging aspect for a physician than dealing with the patient themselves, is helping the families through. And there's never one family member. There's always a dozen family members from all over. So, and then because you do care when you take care of the patients up here, they really do become part of your family. So, yes, that's the hard part. When someone does die, it's difficult. And I can't tell you that we don't shed tears up here, because we do. But that's a healthy thing for us to do, and I'd be more concerned if we did not care enough to shed a tear when we felt the loss, or we felt the loss for the family members.
I am just so pleased to let everybody who's watching this interview know what goes on up here and who the people are. Dr. Roger Hrcak, come Friday, hear everything about hospice care. Let him dispel the myths. You'll be so glad to hear more. I'm Terry Koleth.
Again, take note of the new location for this hospice class. It takes place tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. in the hospitality room of the Village Church, and all are welcome. Now it's time to go over all of today's happenings from Resort Services. Then stay tuned for your Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Welcome to the Happening segment of ShellPoint TV. I'm Suzanne Zavada, and I'm here on Thursday, July 11th, to go over all the activities at ShellPoint today. We'll start the day off at 7:15 with the Health Connections, Bend, Breathe, and Balance in the Health Club on the island. At 8 o'clock, the Men's Golf Association will meet out at the ShellPoint Golf Club. Also at 8, we have the Round Robin Men's Doubles Tennis Group out at the tennis courts at the Woodlands. 8:30 is the time for the Paddlers Club to meet out at the Kayak Storage on the island. And at 9:15, the shuffleboard players will be out at the shuffleboard courts on the island. At 9:30, the current events group will be meeting in the game room of the Woodlands. Also at 9:30, we have the ladies match play tennis group meeting out at the courts at the Woodlands. At 9:45, we have introduction to beginning line dancing, followed by 11:15, where we have advanced line dancing, both of which will take place at the health club on the island. At 1:15, Mahjong will be played in the library lounge on the island. And at 2:45, we have a Health Connections, Balance and Mobility Training Level 2 at the Health Club on the island. At 3 o'clock, we have Behind the Scenes of the Call Center. They will be meeting at the Marina Gazebo. Also at 3, we have a Health Connections, Pole Walking Insider Workshops at the Village Church Auditorium on the island. Sign up is required and it's $10 per class. At 4 o'clock, the seamstress will be available for the weekly service in the Osprey Room on the island. 4:30, Alcoholics Anonymous meeting will take place in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. At 7 o'clock, we have Pinochle in the library lounge on the island. And our last activity for the day is 7:30, where we have the summer concert series, The Sunshine Trio, at the Village Church on the island. A ticket is required. That's all for Thursday. I will see you back here tomorrow for the weekend edition of The Happenings.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Thursday, the 11th of July. At 9:45, we have Organize Your Hard Drive. I'd like to tell you about a new class tomorrow, Academy on the Go. Visit the latest and greatest new library. This would be in Fort Myers Beach. Also, the comfort of hospice care with Sherry Brown and Dr. Herchak, and with Debbie Gowing of Hope Health Care. Please note the new location, the Village Church Hospitality Room.
Menus for Thursday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is General Tso's chicken with steamed jasmine rice and stir-fry vegetables. The dinner special is the Crystal Carving Board for $10.95, and the soup of the day is potato leek. In the Island Cafe for lunch, you can have a ham, turkey, and Swiss sub with chips for $6.95. The dinner special is Thai night for $7.95. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Thursday are New York strip for $17.95 or stuffed pork loin for $13.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and we're delighted that you are able to join us for this session. You know, one of the things that is attractive to me about ministering here at the Village Church is how important the Village Church is as an integral part of the Shell Point retirement community. You know, ever since I arrived from the very beginning, everyone on the Shell Point staff, whether they attend church here or not, commented to me on how important the Village Church is to the nature and character of the Shell Point retirement community. So I knew when I came that I was coming to a community that valued the church. And so it was with those thoughts in mind that I decided that the book of Ephesians would be my first sermon series. And that's because Ephesians is a book about the church. And that's church, by the way, with a big C. That's what the Apostles' Creed calls the Holy Catholic Church. The Holy Catholic Church refers to the Church Universal. That is all genuine believers in Jesus Christ. Those here, not only in the Shell Point retirement community, but also in Fort Myers and Lee County, in the state of Florida, in the United States, in fact, all across the world. Well, Ephesians highlights the extraordinary importance of the church. And that's why we called this series The Real Great Society. Now, of course, we all remember the Great Society as those social programs instituted during the Johnson administration, reforms which affected nearly every dimension of life: healthcare, education, welfare, the arts, and so forth. Well, as important as those societal commitments were, they pale in comparison to how God views the church universal. And the book of Ephesians teaches us that the church has an incredible origin in the eternal choice of God, an amazing high calling to be holy and blameless, and an enormous responsibility to live out that calling in practical ways, ministering to others, whether they are inside or outside of the church, with the gifts that God has provided. Now, none of that gets lived out in the abstract. The Church Universal is only evident in its local expressions, and those local expressions are real people with genuine relationships with Christ and with the gifts that God has provided, who are working in ministry to, as Paul says, grow up into Him who is the head, even Jesus Christ. And that's why I love the ministry here at the Village Church. We are a people seeking to live out that high calling. Not a perfect people, far from it, but a people who are committed to the goal as Ephesians lays it out for us. And so I would encourage you today in two ways. First, I would encourage you to recognize how God views the church universal, how He loves the church, cares for the church, gifts the church, and that whatever view you used to have of the church, I pray that that view would be elevated and that you would begin to think about the church the way God thinks about it. And secondly, I would encourage you to invest yourself in the local expression of the Church Universal. Whether that would be the Village Church or another local church, I trust that you would find God working in and through the people who have a genuine relationship of faith in Jesus Christ. Those are the things that we're learning together as we study the book of Ephesians, and I trust that you will discover these and other truths as you commit yourselves to the life and ministry to your local church. We'll be continuing our study of the book of Ephesians. We're just about halfway through it, and so I trust that you'll be able to join us one way or another, whether you attend the church or perhaps picking it up on ShellPoint TV. So blessings to all of you, and thank you for joining us here at Village Church Connections.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as we tour the newest gallery selections at the Art Studio, all with the theme of red. Until then, this is ShellPoint Today for Thursday, July 11th. I'm Rochelle Chernowski. From all of us here at ShellPoint TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.